Following the discovery of oil and gas in commercial quantities in Ghana, there has been several contributions by various stakeholders as to how the oil will create a win-win situation and citizens will benefit substantially from these resources.
It's very difficult for any country to get ready for oil when they've never had reason to get ready for oil. But with the discovery in 2007, Ghana worked hard, parliamentarians, the government, and civil society, to try to make sure that there's proper legislation in place. For example, the government must disclose the payments that they receive from oil companies and how much oil is produced on a quarterly basis. This is the kind of transparency safeguard that very few countries actually have. There are some pieces of the framework that are yet to be put in place. Also, on the environmental side, there are capacities that don't exist. The Environmental Protection Agency has very little capacity to monitor the environmental impacts of the oil industry. What we've seen is that coastal communities, fishing communities, are experiencing impacts.
At first, we thought it was going to be a blessing, but now we are realizing that it has rather turned into a curse. I'm saying a curse because the oil find has greatly affected fishing in this community. And most of the people here are fishermen. And this problem has brought about hardship in the community because my people are suffering. Most especially, the fishermen are complaining bitterly that as a result of the oil activities, now they have a bad catch. So we think that there has to be other alternative livelihood for the community. And also, we think that if there is going to be any oil spillage or any other hazard as far as oil activities are concerned, we are greatly going to be affected. And for that matter, we are appealing to the authority to do something to help us.
Mesiafo a yeho nam no dwuma ye zinye de yenkunum no na wokopo nti se wokopo na woze nam ne ba na ehia mesiafo no nso yekọ na ya akọje nam no ye gya yenyu ne zibo ebu ne siwie a na ye de abefie ye befie a ya ba hohoro ho na ya ahwo ye ho wie a na efi ya hwehwe beebi a ye bokọ akoton enam no na ya ba ye yenkunum won konte ye de amohon ye nso ye ndwuma ye din Kolinyi oya no obe no wo me yeta ase de yenkunum no bebi wotu oya no wose se abesema ahenum sa ahinu ono yehu mosa wakan wose mama wonko emben rig no nti ono no odikan wa ha ohen nti enam no nso opekane a nti yehu de enam no fa wekugu rig no ho yenkunum no so wontum nkwa reg no ho nti sisia de epo no wokwa wonya nam de ma ode wonya no sisia la mukunu beye da pene ba asa won kropum wonyinam
oh wa ma woto yadi na mom nyaman ye nam ne ye ko akafa na boyezin ya bago ma yenye sika kofie ya mba so yenye bi ye tade ma wan ma wozi na mom ya da na no boyezin first nche efe chire benye bi ahai na yenye da na hai wona wo bi no wesisi ma abo na waja advance na waje ni yearly nti se 200,000 na 200 afi kro no times 12 na etua na at once entua pe efiewura orutu ya hemfo no so nsase no ton na wɔreton asase no wɔreton na ya nche ye be pere ye nyi won be hia na ya ka che won na asase no wɔnton wɔton na nchirima na wɔbaba no wɔnya beebi ntiti do sisi a rubber waja asase no fa nti yenye beebi mpo ye ndo na ye du eziban yegu ya wo mi nsu to sisi ala mesi afunya yegu ha mini mi ye nyina ye bogwa na aka che ehwe ehwa so osha nti ebe hia de obobo pata shed kasinala open shed ye de ama enamfui ose na nami no ma edomba egom se na menyu a bo na egonu ma ekon and aho pi so ebogu ye mu ha am no nti wa ma pay na ade nkakakra owo enam free day time biara wo wi anwan nam da dom na wa abekro no pi nti efi so aho aba wa upgrade here so your standard of dressing wo krom ha tem people from bigger cities na ade no what bahadam na then we also copy from them the way they dress, the way they look, then we also want to be like them into oil no or the you more of the brain.
In recent times, there have been a lot of accidents, boat accidents involving fishermen, boats, destruction of the fishing nets due to the high traffic, supply vessels, and other equipment that are going to the rig, getting contact with the fishermen. And to the extent that in one particular case, a life was lost. Yeah. In recent times, we've had a problem with sargassum. That reminds me of ballast water. For instance, if the vessels come and they discharge ballast water into our environment, they are likely to carry alien species of flora or fauna into our system. And that is most likely what we are seeing. This sargassum problem hasn't been there until recently, and it is also affecting fishing activities of our fishermen. Sargassum is a type of seaweed, a brown seaweed, which floats. It's a floating seaweed, and when it is on the surface of the water, it really hinders fishing activities. Yeah. The fishermen complain about the fishing grounds being taken over. We know internationally they are not allowed to go close to the rig. At least 500 meters should have been the no-go area, but now we have a 1 mile radius, which they think is affecting their work. Sometimes they complain of being brutalized when they attempt to go near the oil rigs. But you know, fish is naturally attracted to light. So they think that all the fishes are moving towards the rig and they must chase them. A fisherman will always chase the fish to wherever it is. But then, apart from that, the oil rig is incidentally located close to where the fishing grounds are. So you see the problem we have. The fishermen are being denied of the fertile fishing grounds, and then we understand where oil is being found. And if you take this 1 mile radius thing, cumulatively, you can imagine what that would be. It means that the fishermen are being denied.
So I don't be there. Say if you are the man, on main better wood to oil, and also when you gas for one. No man no nisikasam washing a year. Say your kasam the year, or man or beya, engineer and also nisikasam bridge ye. Last Tuesday, Yara Casa, bread of a sinquera. And now, what frame or a shama there? Gas and was about 12 bono. No, so wɔnyɛ afrafra di nkitaho yɛkɔe bɛdi abɛsia yɛkɔe hɔ yɛkɔe hɔ no wɔn yɛ te ase dɛ wɔde ndzɛmba bi nsɛnkyerɛdze bi bɔtoto epu n'enyi a ɔyɛ yellow bi amasa ɔfrɛ yi sɛ odu hɔ a na wɔahu dɛ ofi dɛm bie de kɔ ɔyɛ baabi a ɔyɛ no wɔ no yɛnkɔ hɔ ɛyɛ tele ɔyɛ yɛyɛ nsusuo gyikyɛ wɔn tele ɔyɛ wɔntumi wɔnyɛ ntɛm afrafra wɔda ho wɔkɔ hɔ nti nkitahodzi a ɔwɔ oil and gas production in this country no mu no ɔnwie pɛyɛ.
So where you are standing now has been acquired by the GNPC, which has been taken over by the Ghana Gas Company. So at the moment, they have acquired 19 kilometers of land from the people of Bonya, Tekinta, Igbazo, and then Kabaswas. You have not been paid for the acquisition of the land. You have not negotiated the cost of the land yet. But recently, you were told by the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Asipayanke, of Ghana Gas Company, that the price for a coconut tree as established by the government is 21 Ghana cedis, which in the old cedis is 210,000 cedis. But owing to the fact that the trees had been cut for some time, they were considering us to add 40,000, which is 4 Ghana cedis, to the original price of 21 Ghana cedis, making 25 Ghana cedis, which is 250,000 cedis, old cedis. Really, if the trees had been there, I would have earned about, let's say, 300,000 cedis, which is 30 Ghana cedis annually on a trio, not on. Yes, I think it was woefully inadequate, but all the same, you have to accept it somehow because we are all waiting for a bigger thing to come later in the future.
Baby engineer, nyinaa yɛ banchifuo ne aburo afuo. There was a time mo be susu ni na one Sunday without notice ye wo krom ye tia ne say mo clear land no. I ye create say as I'm talking to you now. Say I'm no kase. Yentu aka program obia.
The local people, for local people, we will supply some lots of worker in production. For example, for simple production worker, simple worker, the labor and the transportation and like this, and so, and for the technical and skillful worker, and will be come from China. Yes.
Yeah. Ya wakaze ya beadrika besebehiri ya bede begwa na hane na behiri begwa hala banga nwra hwibia la moti nzini meni mogare ba hala ne be yeke be ba n ba be dua ya bede ka ka ba mai ne ne dede la bete bare ye dan ko ye ne de bebia la mo ye tu na ye ria na ye nya ye du ne ria moti ka ka ze ye la kan de be ga no muziki besebe be dua bete bare moti ye la kan de be na se be ba an ba be dua ka ke. Yeah, it's Miami.
Actually, we are not going against the company itself, but what you want the people to do, they should have interaction with the community. They should be socialized to the people of the country. Actually, what happened in the three communities, we were very glad about this issue that farm was cleared without the consent of the owners. More especially, it was held in Sunday, of which it was very painful. More especially, a lady who was very young and she got fainted when he got to the farm that the farmland has been cleared without her consent. They should get a training center for the youth in this land so that they also be involved in the job that is coming. I mean, the gas company that is coming here, so that we all benefit on that.
They thought when a whale dies, it becomes a good omen to the fisher folks. So we take it upon ourselves and celebrate the death of the whale. with the idea that they were going to get a bumper harvest. But with the onset of the oil, where it has been constantly happening, so we thought it's a bad omen because of its sentence. We can't withstand them.
When I was young, it was a part of it, a bone of it, something. But this time, it was recently it was a whole body of it. The whole body of the whale came ashore, and we can't control it. We couldn't sleep. The smell was so bad for us. The fishermen couldn't go to sea. It was a whole lot of it.
Sisiano, since aboa no beda efom no, in fact nkrofo o mo okrum ha no obia nko ba bia ye nyina ye de ahoden aboa se ebetwitwa aboa no amna aba efom. But still no ye nwie nti no ene na be last day if you say ebetumi atwitwa de aka nyina aba offshore.
Aboa no beto ha de wa ma ye yare bebe fi say aboa no ne pampan no eye nyan ena san so e bon pa nti woti ne ka na wo fe wo bofun pe na wo wa start say wo fe nti eno an krofo bebre mo ba ha ma mo fe bebre ena san so abre yare ebi mo ko hospital e wo nkronkro kebaku kengen na ekwenu nyina mo ko hospital aboa na beto ha de yesra ban say omwa na omeboa ye e wo yare ho omre ye nuro ene nnuama bebre ye hia wo ye ha no.
Another challenge is what's a show of bitumen, which we call it in our language as quota, which prevent our fishermen from dragging the net ashore. I want the government to study more about it, as at why this has been happening. So, and there should be law so that it will protect our environment, since our life depends on this sea.
Tello also put up a structure for water over there. But the water is not from the first beginning, the water was not functioning. And the assembly was supposed to use that water to facilitate the toilet facility. As normal, the assembly know you use the empuano. And this is what the fund is trying to put us out of there. And they are trying to make us away. So now, you go there, you use the empuano as usual. So you still use the empuano. And it is very difficult when you go over there. Once both sexes meet, it's very difficult. But you manage to do it.
Some time ago, a company has a mobile bay port with Krumha. Now, around April, May, anyone who says ships be various ships, about 3 or 4, Ebeguha, a Puma, and during that time, any notice say, a Puno Benenim, a Onishua, and within that period, no, a Puna to me, claiming more than 10 meters of a Ahiano. And your money be shy. Any bisa wasam no mo say visibility studies no more ye na so mo hwe na by August na sa ebe ha 2 communities, that is atwa wana no chi dia ene emma so enti ye twen senia senia musika no because ye twen say within this period on be you know to see ahia e wo nyina yi ko.
It's in the net.
Was this yala obudrum ribia efani hina obotonsu because demra talofo wo baby si hone rego he wo so onyina onfon konfon bra oil rigs and peel bebe nsum na so be nsum dem na se efar no obra hen edwuma aza hen nyame bi be ye bibi o kakra.
Well, as for the environment and for the social aspects of the oil industry, that's the whole essence of what the environmental impact assessment was supposed to tell us. And then we put in place mechanism to deal with the undesirable side effects of the industry. But repeatedly, we have the EPA, who is supposed to be the state agency, who is supposed to tell us whether indeed things are on track. They are happy with what is happening. We may be faced with some challenges that we probably haven't addressed. That's what everybody does everywhere, and that's the whole essence of the creation of the EPA, to protect the interests of Ghanaians. So we only have to strengthen the EPA, and we have to make sure that we put pressure and demand accountability from EPA. I've always said that if the Jubilee partners let us down, I won't blame them. I'll blame the EPA, who is a statutory body empowered to protect our interests. So if they give them the permit because they are happy with what they've submitted to them, you can't go and blame the private sector people who are out to maximize profit, and they will cut corners if nobody is policing them. PIAC's work actually we are supposed to be interested in that one as well, but how are we supposed to do that if we don't have the resources to do that? If we don't have the resources, we can hire people to provide independent assessment, but that takes money, and still we don't have that money. So we need to make sure that the environmental management plans that they're going to put in place to address some of these unintended outcomes, they are solid and they're able to address those issues. But civil society will need to put the necessary pressure on these state institutions and the private sector to do what we feel is in the best interest of the people of this country.
So we have come across various social and environmental issues concerning the oil and gas industry, such as whales dying, fishing gears being destroyed by oil supply vessels, land grabs, land speculations, rising cost of living. We are therefore calling on all stakeholders to come together and let's think around these issues and come up with practicable solutions so that the oil will be a blessing for all of us.
Fiscal.